Hey Joyce,
Yo.
what would you do if I was killed in a drug deal gone wrong, and then my brother had to escape from the French Foreign Legion and pay your bills by fighting in like street fights?
I would take that money.
You wouldn't be like, no, I'm not taking your money.
Nope.
Would you let my brother explain that, the reason that you didn't make it to the funeral was because he wasn't allowed to leave the army to go to the funeral?
Yes. Yes.
Pretty reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not how it went down in Lionheart, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme.
It was not. It was not at all.
And thank God, because it made the story much more action-packed.
Yeah.
It really did.
I mean, I don't know. It was a classic Jean-Claude Van Damme film.
He likes to keep it simple.
He does. He was low-key in this one, which I appreciated.
I don't know if that was him being low-key, though. I think it was like the director was like, you're not really good at speaking English, sir. We're going to have this other guy speak English for you.
I mean, that could have been it, but either way, I thought that was a better portrayal.
Definitely. Fuck. I made a note of the guy that, his friend Joshua. I made a note of what his name was, but now I can't remember. It was like Tommy Harrison or something.
Right.
He was a guy who I think I'd seen in other movies.
I looked him up, and he was in a few B movies.
Was he the guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark that runs the steamship?
I didn't see that on his credit list.
Fuck. I was like, where is this guy from?
And the little kid was from Growing Pains.
I knew I recognized her.
Yeah.
JCDC's niece.
Yeah. She was pretty good.
I mean, she was a kid. In my opinion, the best way for a kid to get through a movie is to just be in the movie as little as possible. And she did that. She was in like 3 scenes.
Yeah.
JCVDC meets her.
We just watched a movie with a kid. It was the lead last night.
What movie was that?
Freaks. She was a good little actress.
She was alright in Freaks. We're not here to talk about Freaks.
I'm just pointing out.
We're here to talk about Lionheart.
Yeah, Leon.
If you were a street fighter in the underground street fighting circuit, what would your street fighting name be?
Avant-Garde J.
I don't know how intimidating that sounds.
It sounds like I have to carry razor blades in my fingernails.
Well, anyway, Okay, well, just to get this out of the way, because I feel like we're just kind of all over the place in this review so far, I'm going to just get to the point and say that I loved fucking Lionheart, except for, in the beginning, his brother gets killed by his drug dealer, I'm assuming.
Right.
Like, he had the money for the drugs. There were no cops or nobody was, like, trying to, what was the drug deal gone bad?
Well, it was lacking in plot or sensical plot.
This guy was just like, I'm tired of selling you drugs. I'm going to set you on fire.
I think he was just taking his money and not providing him the drugs. Because it was sugar.
It didn't make no fucking sense.
I mean, most of the movie didn't make any sense, but...
But the whole movie was based on this one thing. Can't we just... And even if it didn't make sense, I kind of, figured that the drug dealers would in turn... The whole movie would be about... The guy's wife would in turn be in danger or something. Like, the drug dealers would be looking for her and trying to kill her or something. And JCVD would have to keep her safe. something like that. But no, they're
Right.
just like, yeah, they caught him.
I thought that's what was going to happen as well. But apparently they were after him.
So really the only sense of urgency we have in this movie is the plot is Jean-Claude Van Damme has to raise enough money through illegally street fighting to support his sister-in-law and her daughter, who live in a rough neighborhood, before he is arrested by the French Foreign Legion.
Correct.
That is the plot of Lionheart. And it's just, like, if it's like drug dealers are trying to kill your sister-in-law and her daughter, then as viewers we can be like, shit, Jean-Claude Van Damme needs to beat the shit out of somebody.
Right.
Lives are at stake. But no, it's just like, well, she was kind of, she had a job, and...
I mean, this was no blood sport.
Bloodsport had a very uncomplicated plot.
Yeah. I didn't like the ending of this. It was one of those, we're going to make the audience happy by having a happy ending. But it totally contradicted everything he just said.
Yeah, they did kind of just,
Like,
hey.
if I don't go, we're going to have to run from them the rest of our lives, and your mommy will have to run with me too. And then they turn around and let him go, so that's what you're going to be doing. So just because those two dudes let you go doesn't mean that they're not going to come back for you with other guys.
I guess we weren't supposed to think that much.
That's dumb.
So really we're just supposed to enjoy the fight scenes. What was your favorite fight scene, Joyce?
The other thing was that the fight scenes were fairly hard for him. Like, he was not even portrayed to be that good of a fighter.
What the fuck are you talking about? You beat the shit out of everybody.
But it was hard for him. Like, it wasn't an easy fight. He didn't just walk in and kick their asses. Like, not even.
Dude, if Jean-Claude Van Damme walked into every fight and just kicked the guy in the balls and left, like in that one scene, like, it would be like Mike Tyson's career. Remember that shit?
Right, but the point is he's supposed to be a good fighter.
Nobody wanted to see Mike Tyson fight anymore because he would just obliterate everybody in 15 seconds.
I don't think that
Nobody's trying to see that. Even if you got money on the fight, you're not trying to see that.
Right, I get that. That's not the point.
What was your favorite fight in the movie, Joyce?
Favorite fight in the movie? It wasn't the water one with all the thongs and bikinis.
Dude, there was some beef on display.
Oh, we got to see Jean-Claude's ass, and it was pretty fun.
I was just saying,
beefy.
like, he's in his, like, hotel room. What was I? I was whining about something. Somebody's ass. I was like,
the
man.
girl, you said she didn't have any ass.
She
and
didn't.
Then they busted out his, and it was like, boom, boom.
Yeah, I was like, man, the TNA in this movie leaves much to be desired. But then they were like, boom, here's Jean-Claude Van Damme's ass cheeks.
They're pretty muscular.
Right. He really had a lot going on back then.
He did. I didn't realize he was so muscular.
I think it was in his contract back then. Like, if he was in a movie,
you have to show
he had to at least be in a thong bikini underwear.
For sure. So favorite fight scene. I guess it was probably the last one, the final one, but
it was a good fight. The guy, I kind of wish they would have built up the guy that he fought a little bit more, but I guess they did what they could.
He was just backhanding him, bah, 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 bah.
And then JCVD would be like, no, fuck you. And then the dude was like, no, you can't faze me because I'm like the most powerful guy ever.
Right.
And look at my fucking hair.
Yeah, he looked like, he did look relaxed the whole time he was fighting in his little suit.
Oh yeah, he was pretty laid back about the whole deal.
Yeah.
Even when like he got defeated, he was just kind of laying there like, fuck, can't win them all.
His name was Attila.
Attila was, he was a true warrior. He knew when he'd been bested.
I liked the fight in the alley too. When they got into the fight, when they tried to use the telephone.
I think that might have been the Billy Blanks scene.
Yeah, you did say Billy Blanks was in the movie.
He was in the movie. I guess it's been a long time since I've seen a Billy Blanks infomercial. Or Tybo or whatever he's in, but I don't even know what this fucking guy looks like.
He must have been one of the young guys.
Right, there's a part in the movie where he fights a bunch of random black dudes in the alley. Maybe that was the part with Billy Blanks. Billy Blanks is black. Would you agree?
Yeah, I believe so.
It's correct. Oh, and speaking of black guys, dude, that dude Joshua really, like, he put the whole fucking movie on his shoulders. Jean-Claude Van Damme has this friend that kind of does all the talking. And, like, really, like, the movie would have fucking sucked if that dude was not in the movie.
Yeah, he was pretty good. I liked it.
Like, he was like his manager, I guess.
Self-appointed manager.
Right, but he has a bit of a character arc. Like, he's just kind of like a, he's like a hustler, just after some money, and then him and Jean-Claude Van Damme become
Well, apparently
actual
he used
friends.
to fight for them.
Oh yeah, we discovered that he was actually a street fighter and that he had been used up in much the same way.
That's why he had that limp.
Like they were just using Jean-Claude Van Damme as like a sweaty, beefy piece of, rippling muscle.
Right.
Like a sweaty, beefy boy.
He stood up to the chick though that was rich. Said you can't have this.
That is how it went down.
Which was a pleasant turn of events.
And what was up with that one dude with the Aaron Rodgers? I mean, not Aaron Hernandez. You know the dude that killed people that was on the New England Patriots? He had that low. He had one of these. Like his hairline started here. Like mine starts way up here. His hairline started here. And there's not many people in the world that got that.
Right, a 1-inch forehead.
Like in the battle against, like the receding hairline, like Rogaine, whole industry. They need to find that guy and research his ass, because his hairline was doing the opposite. His was, what is even the opposite word for receding?
Rescinding. Regrowing.
I guess one word's as good as another. The opposite of receding, this guy had a proceeding.
Proceeding. A proceeding hairline.
This movie is worth it alone just to check out this motherfucker's hairline.
Proceeding forward.
So anyway, how many stars are you gonna give this movie?
3.
3's above average.
It's not.
So if you had to watch, what's that movie where Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Bloodsport.
Well, Bloodsport's one. We'll say if you had to choose between Bloodsport, Lionheart, and that one comedy movie that came out like a few years back where he's like, put your finger in the tiger's asshole. Did you see that one?
No, but I would always choose Bloodsport.
Bloodsport's pretty fucking awesome. Lionheart was not better than Bloodsport?
No.
Was it better than other movies?
Could you be more specific?
No.
It's not the best movie in the world, so yes.
It's an alright movie. Who would you recommend the movie to?
Anybody that likes 80s movies or fighting movies.
I think that movie came out in like 1994.
Bloodsport?
Oh, not fucking Bloodsport.
Oh, this movie, Lionheart.
Yeah, plus Bloodsport I think came out in like 1990 or maybe 89, but I think 90.
I mean anybody that's a Jean-Claude fan
if
or
you
a
like
fighting
action
fan.
and you like seeing Jean-Claude Van Damme beat the shit out of people,
It's
you're
still
in for a
played much
treat.
like an 80s movie.
It was, yeah.
So, regardless.
And it's got that shopping montage where he buys new suits.
Yeah, it did, but only there was a lack of excitement.
A lack of urgency, which would have been better. So basically the movie would have been 4 stars.
He was like, it's not for me.
It would have been 4 stars, except the drug dealers didn't in turn try to kill his sister-in-law. And maybe if that girl had been murdered, that would have been better.
The sister-in-law?
No, his niece. The girl from Growing Pains.
Right. And it would have been like a John Wick movie.
Right, it would have been fucking 4 stars.
But hey, I like that Jean-Claude Van Damme television show where he plays himself.
Let's not get into that. Goodbye.